inspiration for this list came after watching several videos of the Anime Heroes Top 20 Manly Anime Heroes Countdown. While watching, I realized that I hadn't seen as an in-depth or extensive female version. So I then sat down and thought about all of the Japanese anime and manga I've watched and read and wondered just how many had notable or good female characters. More than I thought, actually. This will be the biggest project I've done so far on YouTube, and I believe that I've learned from my mistakes from the aborted Trial of the Flash retrospective to make this one as good as possible. That being said, I have set a few rules for myself. 1. I have to have seen the series myself or read it. So even if someone recommends a character, if I haven't seen it or read it, it won't be considered. 2. I don't have to have seen or read all of the source material the character is derived from, but just enough to get the gist of the character. 3. Unlike most lists where there's only one character allowed per series, I won't do that. While I won't make and have like 10 characters from one series on the list, I can guarantee that more than one series will have multiple characters on the list. 4. Other than that,
there are no rules.
I currently don't know how many parts this will be. I will try to have as many characters in each video as possible, but I want to keep each video between 10 to 15 minutes. Schedule wise, I will try to stick to a twice a month schedule. The videos may come out more frequently depending on what's happening in my life. This whole thing will start as soon as I have at least 2 character videos done. Ranking wise, I'm terrible at ranking stuff that are my favorite things. That said, I do know who the first 2 characters will be and who the final character will be. Written versions of the videos will first appear on my Patreon page and then pop up on my website about a week or 2 later. Also, unless something occurs last minute, certain series won't have any characters on the list. An example would be One Piece. I'll give my reasons why in a future video. Finally, before I release who is my favorite number 1 female character, I will put out an honorable mentions video. The number 1 video should come out about a week later. So now let's begin. First up is Lust from the first Full Metal Alchemist animated series. Initially I thought she was just going to be a stereotypical cold hard femme fatale. And in both the comic and in Brotherhood she was. In the first series, her personality is more complicated. Lust is one of the 7 homunculi. In the series, in order for a homunculi to be created, someone has to break the biggest rule of alchemy, bringing the dead back to life via human transmutation. What's summoned is in the image of the alchemist's loved one, but doesn't have the soul or personality of them. So basically, they are the physical manifestation of the alchemist's sin. In Lust's case, she was created when Scar's brother tried to resurrect his lover. At the start of the series, she's confident, sexy, and lethal. But as the series continues on, she starts to become a more broken and insightful individual. After a while, we discover the homunculi's goal is to become human. What I liked was seeing her journey and her evolution as a character, seeing her start to show more and more vulnerability and human emotions. We get to see her backstory and her connections with other characters, such as the Elric brothers, Scar's brother, the main villain, and even the other homunculi. She wants to become human because she wants to become whole. She questions her existence and purpose in life later on. This hit home for me the first time I watched the series. I was at crossroads in my life. I questioned what I was going to do in the future and how to achieve it. Her goal was for selfish but completely human and understandable reasons. She does horrible things in the first half of the series, but she grew from those experiences. I feel she had the most growth and the second most compelling character arc of any of the characters in the show, which is pretty impressive when you consider that about half the episodes in the series were filler. But it's the best type of filler. It's the type that doesn't drag or stretch a story beyond reasonable belief, but the type that adds to the characters by making them more fully formed than they were in the original source material. While I enjoy the original comic and Brotherhood more, I do like the character arcs of Lust and Azumi Curse more in the first animated series. I just love the complexity that they had in the first animated series. Lust's story had a bittersweet ending to it, but it did feel complete. Next up is Sarada Uchiha from the Naruto franchise. Honestly, up until recently, she wasn't even on the list. It wasn't until I reread the 73rd Naruto volume and watched the Boruto movie that I even considered her. She's the only offspring of Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. At first, I thought she was just gonna be a bland or one-note character. My feelings started changing a bit near the end of chapter 700. Near the end of 700, it looks like she had a bit of a mischievous streak in her. I like the fact that while she has certain aspects of her parents as part of her personality, Sasuke's brooding and stubbornness and Sakura's temper and level-headedness, she is her own individual. She seems to get along well with other people, both kids and adults. She's respectful, however, she will speak her mind, and if she has a problem, she's going to take the initiative and try to solve the problem immediately. Now, while she does share characteristics from both of her parents, her goal of becoming Hokage and the reason for it, as well as her determination and will of fire, most resembles Naruto's. She wants to become a Hokage in order to bring people together, and in the case of her initial story, she wants to finally meet her father and get her questions answered, as well as holding him culpable for what he's done in the past and what he's going to do about it in the future. If someone fails to live up to her expectations or make mistakes, then she doesn't pussyfoot around and expects everyone to be held accountable, whether it's her parents or even the Hokage. This unfortunately doesn't happen enough in Naruto when it comes to the female characters, I feel. I mean, Sakura tried to do it once and she wound up poisoning Naruto. Hinata was more successful, however, whether it's slapping some sense into Naruto or becoming a stronger person. I'm not sure if I should count what happened to her and Naruto during the Pain Invasion story arc though. Which brings up a positive and negative. I feel that Masashi Kishimoto did better development of this one character, Sarada, in 10 chapters than he did in 700 chapters of most of the females in the series. And yes, I'm including Sakura in that. I mean, heck, a great way to describe Sarada is that she's Sakura written correctly. I can't say I'm surprised about that. In previous interviews, Kishimoto described Sakura as just a regular girl. It seemed other than creating a female character for Team 7, he didn't put in as much thought or care into her as an individual as he did with other characters like Hinata, for example. It might have something to do with the fact that Sakura doesn't have a dark and sad backstory. It can't be coincidence that the most interesting characters in the series have a sad origin. On a completely unrelated note, however, it is interesting that Kishimoto has said that halfway through Naruto, he wanted Hinata to become the lead female, but due to Sakura's popularity in Japan, that didn't happen. With the new monthly Boruto series coming out, it'll be interesting to see how her character further develops. It looks like between her, Boruto, and Mitsuki, she's going to be the leader of the group. Power set wise, she seems to have the chakra control of her mother to perform superhuman feats, plus she has her father's fire nature, so it'll be interesting on what type of skills she'll develop as the series goes on. I'll discuss more about her when I review her origin story in the Naruto Gaiden volume. And now, Bulma briefs from the Dragon Ball franchise. I know that many people don't like her character. Heck, 20-something years ago, when I first saw her, I didn't like her. She can be loud and bossy, but there's more to her than that. I feel she's the most important and possibly the most powerful character in all of Dragon Ball. She's the one that gathered the entire gang together at the start of the story. She created the Dragon Radar, which makes searching for the Dragon Balls a snap. She created the time machine, which not only saved Goku's life, but everyone else's when you think about it, as well as learning the Namek language and refurbishing Kami's spaceship for the Namek trip. Okay, so she's an extremely useful character, but that isn't going to make someone a great character, right? Here's the thing though, as I got older, I started liking her character more. It started when I realized that Bulma is the straight man of the series. The Dragon Ball universe is full of very broad and often comedic personalities. She plays well off of other characters like Goku, Krillin, and Master Roshi in the beginning, and Vegeta, Whis, and Beerus later on. Her reactions to what they're doing at a particular moment are funny and completely reasonable. She also forces everyone to keep their eyes on the prize or to stay focused on a particular goal. Some characters come off as being one note, but she has a wide range of emotions and behaves as any normal person would in the situations she finds herself in. Another thing I really like about her is her courageous and adventurous spirit. I mean, think about it. At the start of the series, her parents let their preteen to teenage daughter go out on a world-spanning search for treasure, seemingly just knowing that she could take care of herself. It may seem crazy, but she did know how to take care of herself. She seems to be an expert at shooting firearms. She's also experienced at making deals with people in order to get her way. She's also shown to be a great inventor since she was a child. I mean, heck, in the Jacko prequel comic, she fixed his ship and created a laser death ray. Also, it seems she may have more importance in the future Dragon Ball Super storylines. I also like the fact that she is a good person and willing to go great lengths to help out her friends and family. Examples would be her roles in the Red Ribbon Army Saga, the Namek Saga, and searching for the Super Dragon Balls. And considering that she doesn't have any superpowers, only her intelligence, courage, and fierce loyalty to her friends and family, then I think it says a lot about the type of person she is. No wonder Vegeta hooked up with her. Also, while she is most likely the smartest person in the series, she typically doesn't use that fact to lord over people. I mean, heck, if she ever did become evil, I doubt any of the Z-Wars would be able to stop her. I also like the comedy that she brings. Whether it's her own fault or because of someone else, she's part of some of the best gags in the series. Two of the best are when Bulma tries to bribe both Master Roshi and Goku to get the Dragon Balls after first meeting them. In the first gag, she finds out that Goku isn't like other boys. As for the Roshi gag, that one was set up a little bit earlier and has a very memorable payoff. Thanks, Mr. Toriyama. Bulma is easily the most well-rounded female character in Dragon Ball and perhaps the most well-rounded character overall, even more than Vegeta and Piccolo. It's just too bad that none of the other females in the series had as much attention or care put into them. Walamode follows Tomica, a teenage girl suffering from introversion, a severe case of social anxiety disorder, having a difficult relationship with her younger brother, a grim outlook on life, as well as having a goal to become a NEET. And of all the characters on this list, she most resembles me. More on that later, or not. Tomica is an interesting character because right from the beginning of the story, she's not sympathetic. She's delusional, vulgar, mostly in her mind, selfish, overindulgent, and has a misplaced sense of superiority at times. But I think everyone has been in her place at some point. Tomica constantly finds herself in cringe-worthy situations that at the time feel as if the entire world is falling on her, but as anyone will tell you, when you get older, it's only in retrospect when you can see the humor. After all, the majority of comedy comes from pain and embarrassment. And since she isn't really a bad person, everyone will understand what she's going through. That makes her easy to relate to. Even though we don't see it, it's alluded that before she entered high school, she was normal. All that changed when she got into video games and became an otaku. Huh. That's pretty much like me before and after I got into comic books. Well, anything. Another thing I think people can relate with Tomica is that she is a very isolated person and she's in a very depressing yet comfortable place in her life. But she does want to better herself and she tries to. It's just that she ends up on the losing end a lot of the times. Until recently, however. That said, she isn't always on the losing end. If she was, then the series would be a dredge to go through. Despite her self-destructive nature, her character does advance as the series goes on. Only a little on the TV show, but it's more prominent in the comic, especially in recent volumes. And that's why I enjoy her in the comic more. As the story goes forward, we see that even she has a true friend, and without knowing it, she's making even more friends, or at the very least becoming friendlier with more people, even sitting around at a table at school talking with other girls. Slowly but surely, she's also gaining more respect from others as well. Well, maybe not from her parents or her younger brother though. Over the last couple years, Tomica and the series itself have become quite controversial. There are some people that feel that the series is wrong or distasteful for making fun of someone who's obviously suffering from a severe case of social anxiety disorder. But here's the thing, this has been one of the most and best reviewed and received series in years. Common responses that I found in many forums and reviews are about how many people relate to what Tomica is going through. The fact that so many people can find humor in such uncomfortable, embarrassing, and cringe-worthy antics and sympathize with the character and want her to succeed, and when she does achieve small victories, feel good, even empowered about it, can't be a bad thing, right? Some of my favorite moments in the series are this. 1. She's so introverted or closed off that she doesn't understand why her phone is ringing. Psst, it's because someone wants to speak to you. 2. When after pathetically interacting with a boy, she's so happy that she wants to eat a gallon of ice cream. What's funny is something like that happened to me when I was younger too, except in that case it was about girls. 3. Sometimes without even knowing it, she defeats other girls or embarrasses them. An example is when any girl shows any kind of interest in her younger brother. Another is when she misunderstands when a couple of girls are talking about dicks. Without knowing it, she's actually becoming a more happy and well-rounded individual. I think it's only with the most recent chapters that it started to dawn on her. Despite her difficulties, she is closer to being a happier individual than she thinks. Everything she wants is actually happening, just at a very subtle pace. It will be interesting when she finally figures out that she doesn't need to punish herself so much, that it's gonna all be okay. Keep fighting, Tomica. One Punch Man is a superhero satire series following the character Saitama, who, after a rigorous exercise regimen, becomes so powerful that he can defeat anyone with one punch. The heroes are registered and are ranked from S followed by A, B, C, D, and F, and make income from the good deeds that they perform. The series has a ton of characters. Unfortunately, not many of them get a lot of focus. Also, there aren't a lot of female characters. There are a couple that stand out though. Tornado of Terror was a talented young telekinetic who was taken from her family as a child and went through a battery of tests and possibly experimented on heavily, which would explain why she still looks the way she does, to boost her power. So after being cooped up for years, unable to interact with the world at large, when she was finally free, she had trouble interacting with people in the outside world. It does seem that her time spent in captivity and her brief encounter with Blast did affect her outlook on life though. In recent chapters of the webcomic, we do start to see more aspects of her personality, how she is very overprotective about her younger sister, Blizzard of Hell, to the point where she believes that they only need each other and no one else, then proceeds to try to kill all of the members of the Blizzard group, even though she does look down upon people she sees as weaker than herself, basically everyone. She did finally recognize her sister's improvement. Personality-wise, she can come off as a typical tsundere, hamidere. She looks down upon everyone because she knows, with the exception of one hero, she's the most powerful one around. If no one below her rank can handle a situation as easy as her, she considers them incompetent. After her first appearance, I thought maybe she had some body issues with herself as well, since multiple times we see her either as a shapely lowly or a chibi toddler. Also, because she will really rail into someone if they comment about her size or body, or if no one pays attention to her. Since reading the most recent webcomic chapters though, maybe this has more to do with how her mind was after spending years as a captive with no one caring about her. In the end, she still comes off as an arrogant, brash Elias, and while I still don't like her personality, I am intrigued to learn more about her. With all that being said, my favorite female character of the series, or heck, my favorite character overall, even over Saitama, is Blizzard from Hell. Initially, she came off as a cold and imposing figure, using her influence and power as the head of the Blizzard group to either bully other lower ranked B-class heroes into joining the group or to crush their hopes and dreams of being a hero and advancing any further. She believes that she has a very valid reason for this: low self-esteem. While her sister looks down in disdain on everyone ranked below her, Blizzard is in awe and afraid of everyone ranked above her, or anyone she perceives as more powerful than her, especially when it comes to her sister. She cares about her sister, but is envious and scared of her at the same time, for very valid reasons. This is the main reason why she created the Blizzard group. She feels she's not good enough to make it into the A ranks, much less the S rank, so she thinks if she has a group big and powerful enough, she can make up for that lack of rank and even surpass her sister, doing it as part of a group than doing it just solo. She doesn't have enough confidence in her ability, and because of that, she's stagnant, as Saitama points out in their fight. What I like about her is that she's the most relatable person in the series and has the most relatable character arc as well. We have a lot in common. I'm never going to be the best or strongest at what I do and then try to find purpose in my life like Saitama. However, having some talent and skill and feeling as time goes on that I'm never going to get any better, yeah, that's pretty relatable. We both have talent but can be really self-defeatist, stifling our own development. Out in public, she appears cold and cruel, but in reality, she's a very understanding and caring individual, especially when it comes to the Blizzard group. She may strong-arm you into getting into the group, but once you're there, it's like you've joined a family. Everyone in the group will do anything for her, and vice versa. Of all the characters in the series, she's the one that's making the most progress as a person. Well, maybe King is too, but not as much as she is. She's starting to become more comfortable with the people outside of her own clique. I can see her as being a great straight man of the series based on her interactions so far with other characters. Blizzard is a character who is evolving, and I just hope to see the series focus more on her in the future.